This video is presented by EA Game Changers. Shout out to EA for bringing me down to Orlando so that I could capture this early Madden 20 content for you guys. In today's video, what I'm going to be doing is going over the best abilities for Madden 20. I'm going to give you the best abilities for quarterbacks, the best abilities for ball carriers, the best abilities for wide receivers / tight ends, and also the best abilities on the defensive side of the ball. Now, these are not the X Factor zone abilities, the ones that only 50 players have. Those are the ones that you have to work your way into during a game. The abilities I'm covering in this video are just the regular superstar abilities that are active all game long. So no matter which mode you play in, you're going to want to try to acquire players with some of these abilities because they're the most powerful in the game, in my opinion. So up first, we're going to start with the most important position in football, which is the quarterback, and go over the few abilities that I think are by far the best in the game. The first is called Conductor. This gives you faster hot routing and blocking adjustments. So normally when you want to call hot routes or make adjustments with the quarterback, you have to do them one at a time. You have to call your hot route or your blocking assignment. The quarterback will point, kind of do an animation, and you have to wait for that to finish, and then you can call the next adjustment. But with Conductor, you can do two of them at a time. So you could do 1, 2, and then you have to wait a second for the animation, and then you can do another 2 at a time. What this does is it allows you to make your adjustments quicker, and it puts the defense at a little bit more of a disadvantage because you can set up your play quicker and snap the ball quicker. The only QB with this ability in the regular team part of the game is Tom Brady. That's what makes him special. And while we're on that, let's talk about Hot Route Master, which gives you 4 additional hot routes. This is also exclusive to Tom Brady in the regular game. So you see here in the slot, the wide receiver, we get 4 additional hot routes for him. We could put him on a post. We can put him on a deep crossing route. We can put him on other types of routes like a stop and go and also a corner route, which normally you don't get those 4 extra hot routes. You just have the original 8. Now we'll look at the B receiver. Same thing. We could put him on a deep post. We could put him on a post corner. We could put him on a deep corner route and things of that nature. It really opens up the offense with this ability. Now the next ability we're going to talk about is Protected. This gets you stronger pass blocking from your offensive lineman, and yes, this is also exclusive to Tom Brady. That's why he is the best quarterback in the regular teams, you know, the regular online head-to-header if you're just doing play now, because these 3 abilities are exclusive to him. Now some other QBs will probably get these abilities throughout the year during updates, but at the launch of the game, this is, you know, just exclusive to Tom Brady, and you can see he's going to get more time in the pocket even against really good pass rushers. Now yes, really good pass rushers like the superstar pass rushers will come free pretty often, but against Tom Brady, he's going to hold up. His offensive line is going to hold up a little bit longer against those type of pass rushers. So you're going to get the best protection time when you're playing with Tom Brady because of that special ability that he has. So next up is Escape Artist. This gives you improved scrambling speed behind the line of scrimmage. So this is for the mobile quarterbacks. This is going to give you good agility and scrambling speed. It helps you pull away from pass rushers. It also is good when you want to scramble or if you just want to buy time in the pocket. Now, the way that you need to neutralize an ability like this is using QB Contains this year. But if you do not use QB Contains, these quarterbacks, you can see the star lights up when you take off because you're going to get that little bit of extra speed and agility, and it really helps you evade the pass rushers, get outside the pocket, and make some crazy plays. Now, the quarterbacks with this ability are Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, and Deshaun Watson. But keep in mind, once again, in franchise, different guys can earn these abilities. In Ultimate Team, you can equip them on guys that fit the archetype. Now let's get into the running back position, mainly not just running back abilities, but more so just ball carrier move abilities. So the arm bar gives you more powerful stiff arm animations, and this thing is really crazy. Now, guys that have this in the game are Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell, and Nick Chubb. And when you line somebody up just right and you hit that stiff arm button, you send guys flying. Now, it's not automatic. Sometimes it still won't work, but a good bit of the time, if you time this right, as you can see, you will send guys flying and just literally just send them to the ground and flatline them. It's definitely one of the best abilities in the game for ball carriers, and it's really just nice all around to see the stiff arm kind of make a comeback, as it hasn't been a really popular move in Madden for some time because it hasn't really worked that well. Now next up is Jukebox, which gives you faster juking animations, and this might be my favorite ability in the game. This thing is absolutely sick. The juking is so fast when you have this, and if you time it right, it is almost impossible to tackle somebody. You have to have some really elite stick skills on defense. That's why I want to show a lot of clips of the Jukebox, because it is just so absolutely amazing how good this move is. And you get different juke animations. It's not always the same one. Sometimes they do kind of a step back, sometimes they just do a regular juke, sometimes they will duck under the defender. But as you can see, I mean, if you time this right against the computer, it's very easy to pull off. Against a user defender, you know, a good user defender can square up with you and make the tackle, but it is very hard. You need very good stick skills in order to tackle somebody with jukebox. Now, the players that have this are Melvin Gordon, Tariq Cohen, and then there's a couple wide receivers that have it. Odell Beckham has it, and Stephon Diggs have it. So those guys in the open field are more dangerous because of the jukebox ability. And as you can see, I mean, it's just absolutely devastating when you pull this off and time it right. You can really have guys looking silly on the defense. Next up is spin cycle. This gives you faster spin animation. So if you've played Madden 19, you know that the spin move was really powerful for pretty much everybody that had a high 80 spin move. This year in Madden 20, if you want that type of a spin move, you're going to get that with the spin cycle ability. And as you can see, you can make guys look silly with this. The two running backs that have this are Le'Veon Bell and Christian McCaffrey. These guys are really going to do damage in the open field if you time that spin move just right. And then there's something called evasive, which gives you faster animations for spin and juke moves. So basically what this is it's the best of both worlds. It's jukebox and spin cycle kind of just combined into one ability for players that are good at both. And the only player at launch that has this is Saquon Barkley, who we all saw in his rookie year was a monster in the open field. So they kind of just combine it into one ability if your guy fits the criteria to have both. So he's got jukebox and spin cycle combined into one, which is called evasive. Next is outside zone guru. This gives you stronger blocking on outside zone plays. Now, this is something that is also pretty darn powerful, and the only running back that has this at launch is Todd Gurley. Now, I want you to notice the X under Todd Gurley. When he's on a outside zone or a stretch run, it'll be red, but if we change it to another type of run, the X turns white. So this is how you know if your player is on a type of run that takes advantage of his ability. Since he has a actual ability that it pertains to a certain type of run play, if he's on the correct run play, his X will be red, and that's going to give his O-line a little bit of a boost in the blocking. Now, we also have inside zone guru, which is basically almost the same thing, except it's for inside zone runs, and the only player that has this at launch is Ezekiel Elliott, and the same thing applies to him. If he is on a inside zone run, he will have the red X under his player. If he's on a different type of run, his X will be white. So you will always know if you are using a play that takes advantage of his ability. So as you're going to see with Ezekiel Elliott, he's going to get really good blocking on these inside zone run plays, and it's, you know, he's already got a good offensive line, so this is even that much better with him. And the reason I put these last two abilities in there is because the stretch run and the inside zone run are always two of the more popular and powerful runs in Madden, so to have running backs that can pull these off are very, very good. Next up, we're going to talk about the wide receivers, and we got some really good ones for the wide receivers. The first one is wide receiver apprentice. This gives you 4 additional hot routes at any wide receiver position. So notice we have Michael Thomas lined up on the outside. You can see he gets those 4 additional hot routes on top of the 8 that he already gets. So you could put him on a post corner on the outside. You could put him on a deep post. You can put him on like this little bit of a curl route, and you can also put him on something else here, but I don't think I actually showed the clip of it. And you can see we wound up putting on a post route, and we hit him over the middle. Now, if we put him in the slot, he's going to also get 4 additional hot routes, but they're going to be different hot routes because he's lined up in the slot instead of on the outside. So you see here, we can put him on a deep crossing route, we can put him on a stop and go, we can put him on a corner route, we can put him on like a shorter post route, and it's just really good in terms of just opening up your offense and really creating more plays with it. The only 2 wide receivers that have this ability at launch are going to be Michael Thomas and Antonio Brown. So those guys, no matter where they're lined up, they're going to be able to have more creativity in the offense, and you're going to be able to put these guys on a wide variety of different routes. Next up is the Post Flag Elite. This gives you better route running and catching on post/corner routes. So whether you're on a post or you're on a corner, you get better route running. So notice DeAndre Hopkins in the slot here. Same thing as we covered with the running backs. When he's on a corner or a post, his X will be red. But you see if we put him on a streak or we put him on a drag, his X turns white. So you'll always know if he's on the correct route to take advantage of his route running ability. So when you put him on those corner or post routes, if it's in man, it's going to really be good in terms of route running because you're going to create more separation. But if it's for zone, the route running isn't going to be as big of a deal, but the better catching, especially in traffic, is going to really be a big deal, because you're going to be able to hold on to that ball a little bit better because of the type of route you're on. Now, the only wide receivers with this ability at launch are going to be DeAndre Hopkins and Julio Jones. So if you're a guy that likes to throw a lot of post routes or a lot of corner routes, these are two guys you're going to want to get on your team, or these are two teams that you might want to use, because you're going to get that better route running and that better catching on these routes. Notice here the type of separation that DeAndre Hopkins is going to create on this corner route. And not only is his route running good by default, because he is the best receiver in the game at launch, but the fact that he has an ability that also makes that even better is just going to make those post and those corner routes that much more dangerous when you go to run them. And you can see here, getting his feet in on the sideline. Now we're going to go show just a clip really quickly of the post route with Julio Jones, because we didn't show any with DeAndre Hopkins. So you can see he's going to create really good separation, and he's going to make a nice catch in traffic. And if he would have gotten hit, he probably still would have held on to the ball because of that ability that he has. Next up is the in-out elite. This gives you better route running and catching on in or out routes. So basically the same as the post flag elite, but it's for in and out routes. Now you're going to see here with Julio Jones, again, if we put him like on a streak or something, his X will turn white. But if he's on any type of an in or out route, his X will be red. So once again, you'll always know if he's on a route that takes advantage of his route running ability. Now the receivers with this at launch are going to be Julio Jones and Keenan Allen. Now there's also two tight ends that have this ability, and that would be Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz. So if you like to run in and out routes, especially with your tight ends, I like to put my tight ends on in and out routes very often, more so in routes. I like to put my tight ends on in routes more than I like to put them on drags. So that's really a good ability. If you want to do that, you want to get guys like Kelce and Ertz, because they're going to create really good separation over the middle, and they're going to have better catching in traffic. And the last one for wide receivers I want to talk about is called SLOT-O-MATIC. This gives you quicker cuts and improved catching from the slot. So kind of similar to the other ones that we just talked about, but it can be any route that's considered a slot receiver type route. So you can see here with Adam Thielen, when we have him on a route that takes advantage of his ability, he'll be red. But if we were to put him on a streak or something like that, it's going to turn white, because that's not really considered, you know, I mean, even still, there's really no cuts on a streak anyway, so you really wouldn't get the advantage. But if you put him on an in route or a drag or a slant route or an out route or like a little double move crossing route, he's going to get that SLOT-O-MATIC ability, which is going to give him really good route running, and he's going to get good catch in traffic. Now the two wide receivers that have this at launch are going to be Adam Thielen. Oh, actually, there's three receivers. Adam Thielen, Julian Edelman, and Juju Smith-Schuster all have this. So if you're a guy that likes to target the slot a lot, you're going to want to get those type of guys on your team, or use teams that have those guys. Now, up next, we got to show love to the defense, and the most important ability on defense is definitely Edge Threat. This gives you dominant pass rush moves from the edge. Now, there's also an ability called Edge Threat Elite, which is what J.J. Watt has, and there's one called Pass Rush Elite, which is what Aaron Donald has. As long as you have one of these three, either Edge Threat Elite, or Pass Rush Elite, they will all do the trick. They will all ensure that you shed the blocks very quickly and you get to the QBs very fast, pretty often throughout the game, and you're going to cause a lot of damage for opposing teams. The pass rushers with this ability are Khalil Mack, Von Miller, J.J. Watt, Cameron Jordan, Calais Campbell, Myles Garrett, Joey Bosa, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Aaron Donald. It honestly doesn't really matter what the ratings of the guys are with this ability. As long as you have one of these three abilities, you're going to cause damage all game long, and you're going to be very powerful with these guys. Up next is Enforcer. This gives you guaranteed tackles after hit sticking. So if you have this ability on your player and you go to hit stick somebody, the tackle cannot be broken. But the best part about this ability, in my opinion, is watch Bobby Wagner. This is the computer controlling Bobby Wagner. Anytime you get near a CPU defender with this ability, if you get in their strike zone, they are going to hit stick you every single time, and these guys cause a lot of fumbles. The defenders that have this ability at launch is going to be Jamal Adams, Harrison Smith, Landon Collins, Keanu Neal, Bobby Wagner, and Luke Kuechly. Up next is Zoned Out. This gives you improved reaction and catch knockouts in zone. So if you remember back in Madden 18, they had the 91 zone threshold, which means if your guy had 91 zone or better, he would jump routes really crazy. Now this is kind of similar to that. It's not as overpowered as it was in 18, but any defender with this zoned out ability is going to jump routes a lot more aggressively. They're going to get a lot more picks, and if they're in tight coverage, they're going to knock the ball out a lot. They're not going to get caught on too often. The defenders with this ability at launch are Earl Thomas, Harrison Smith, Eddie Jackson, Derwin James, Byron Jones, Richard Sherman, and Darius Slay. And then up next is going to be Man Up. This gives you improved coverage and catch knockouts in man-to-man. So kind of similar to the zoned out, they're just going to play tighter man coverage, very, very good at mirroring the receiver's routes, and if the catch is contested, they will knock it out. The two guys with this at launch are Stephon Gilmore and Chris Harris. Now, there's also another ability that's called universal coverage, which is a combination of both zone out and man up. If your player fits the criteria for both, he will have universal coverage, and the one cornerback that has this at launch is, of course, the best cornerback in the game, Jalen Ramsey. So those are the best abilities in the game in my opinion. If you want to know about any of the other specific abilities, ask me in the comments below and I'll give you my opinion on them. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and as always, I will see you guys next time.